What's up and welcome back to another edition of Power Rankings with IBM Watson. I am Reinforce. I'm back here to provide some analysis on top of the brilliant data provided to us with IBM Watson. And we got an exciting week behind us with a lot of stomps, quite frankly. A lot of one-sided matchups in the Overwatch League, so definitely going to shake up the team and player rankings with IBM Watson quite a bit. So really excited to take a look at some of the stats this week. Please let me know what you think down in the comments below. Like the video already before we even got started. So you got that out of the way, okay? Get that out of the way, and then we can just talk about the rankings, talk about the players, talk about the teams, and all that juicy stuff. Straight up, let's just jump into it. The team rankings changing up quite a bit this time around. The LA Gladiators takes the 6th position in the team rankings after some very impressive wins against the Atlanta Reign, and they had a matchup against the Vancouver Titans as well, where they looked really good. The LA Gladiators, who came into this season, of course, being touted as one of the top 2 teams in NA, that is after Philadelphia Fusion left and headed over to the APAC region. The LA Gladiators, they had a lot of promise, right? A lot of great pickups. Moth came in from the San Francisco Shock. I think the win against the Atlanta Reign was the most impressive to me. We saw them really shine in the double shield kind of meta, but also them being able to flex over Winston compositions and play fast-paced as well. This is what we wanted to see from the LA Gladiators, so they climb up to number 6 in the team rankings. The Houston Outlaws, they are number 3 after getting wins against the London Spitfire and the Toronto Defiant. Another very impressive qualification stage from the Houston Outlaws, who now have a 7-1 in record in the league standings as well. Maybe a bit of a weaker strength of schedule behind them, but they've certainly deserved these wins because they look really good. Of course, they picked up Dreamer going into the June Joust, and they've been exchanging time, him and Chengdu taking turns playing some of these maps. And then you have the interesting main support situation as well between Juby and Jake. Who's going to be in, who's going to be playing Mercy, Brigitte, Lucio, all those kind of questions. Well, no matter, you know, your opinion on those matters and those player substitutions, it has certainly worked out for the Houston Outlaws. So number 3 in the team rankings this time around. As we move towards the player rankings, there are going to be 1 or 2 teams that are going to be the standouts because some of these players are just climbing up the rankings. Space is at number 10 in the tank rankings for the LA Gladiators, of course, gaining 15 positions this week, breaking into the top 10. Muse is right behind him at number 11. He gained 17 positions after this past week of matches, so catapulting right up the rankings, looking really good for Space, breaking into that number 10. And this is a guy who, you know, we discussed him underperforming a little bit in the main melee. People didn't really like his hero play that much, said that maybe he was one of the weak points. But if we actually take a look at some of the stats, he's first in eliminations, 27.0, and knockback kills, 12.2 per 10 minutes. Only 30 minutes of playtime there, but still, that's really good. If we take a look at his Sigma rankings, he's 3rd in hero damage and accretion kills per 10 minutes, and he's also 3rd in accretion stuns per kill ratio, 51.2%. So that's really good from Space as well, showing his diversity on the Diva and the Sigma. Now we want to see more from him on the Zarya as well, but for now he's number 10 in the tank rankings after very impressive performances on the Diva and the Sigma so far. Another Gladiators player that is climbing, it is Shu, who is number 9 on the support rankings. Breaking into the top 10 for supports is Shu, gaining 15 positions after this past week of matches. Shu is another one used to play for the Guangzhou Charge, came over to the Gladiators. We know he's extremely mechanically skilled. Well, he's going to be one of the standout players for the LA Gladiators if they want to make it far in these stages and perform really well. So Shu number 9 in the support rankings. Now, changing teams a little bit, let's talk about Gator, the main tank for the Atlanta Reign, of course. He gained 8 positions. They lost that matchup against the LA Gladiators, but it was pretty close. It could have gone either way, in my opinion. I think the Atlanta Reign are really impressive so far, the June Joust. So we'll see how the meta adapts as well. You know, we don't really know what the meta is going to look like come knockout matches, etc. So, are they going to stick around with these Orisa Diva, Orisa Sigma compositions? Are we going to see more of that from the Atlanta Reign? Or are we just going to see like Winston Echo Reaper, which we saw the San Francisco Shock and the Dallas Fuel pullout. It's going to be interesting to follow that for sure, and that is one of the narratives I'll be looking out for in weeks to come. Shifting gears to damage players, well, it's going to be another LA Gladiators player for you, and it's going to be Kevster at number 11, gaining 14 rankings this week. I mean, he is another one that has really stood out for me. He has such aggression, and I'm not just saying this because he's Swedish, okay? I realize that there are people down there, down in the YouTube comments, who think just because I'm Swedish, I'm gonna hype up my Swedish players, okay? It worked with Nevix, and it works with Kevster as well, because they are good, okay? They're good at what they do. Kevster slaps. He's amazing, and that is why he's number 11 in the power rankings with IBM Watson, okay? So, if we take a look at his Echo rankings, he is first in duplicate kills, 8.6, and fewest deaths per 10 minutes. Second in focusing beam kills per 10 minutes. So, obviously, you can tell these are some really good Echo stats. Very impressed by Kevster so far. And maybe this unlocks, like, the next tier of gameplay for the LA Gladiators, because keep in mind last year Mirror came in. I think Mirror played most of the Echo for the LA Gladiators, but now Kevster is changing up the gears. He's obviously proven himself on flex DPS in the past. His Genji has been phenomenal for the LA Gladiators. Well, Echo is sort of similar, I suppose. Aggression that Kevster is showing, that's a good playstyle to have in this current meta when Echo is so strong, and you can double down on it by having a Mercy, Pocketeer, Echo if you will. Kevster 4th in hero damage per 10 and a sticky bomb kills per 10 as well, so that rounds out his Echo stats very nicely. Kevster at number 11 on the damage rankings. Another player on the damage list that stands out to me is Nero. Nero for the San Francisco Shock, he is number 6 in the damage rankings. They had a really nice win against the Dallas Fuel. That is the main melee champions, the Dallas Fuel. Well, the San Francisco Shock, they took it to them. They beat them in a very close series. Could have gone either way again, but Shock, they looked a bit more dominant. They looked like they were the better team. I praised Dallas Fuel for their macro game going into this series. And what I mean by that, the macro game is like the rotations, the ability usage, the positioning, the compositions, like the big picture stuff, all right? The big stuff, Dallas Fuel does really well. They're incredible at playing Overwatch. So the San Francisco Shock, they actually overpowered them. They look like the better team, both when it comes to the long range hitscan, of course, because Dallas Fuel, they haven't integrated Pine just yet. That's where Glister really showed up for the San Francisco Shock. But even in the Echo Reaper matchup, bit of a brawlier composition, bit of a GOATS flashback, and maybe we should have known that that is good for the San Francisco Shock. So Nero was definitely a standout for the Shock in that one, playing that Echo, and being this flex DPS player for the San Francisco Shock. I think Nero has really starting to get into a good rhythm. He's climbing in the damage rankings, as you can see. Looking forward to seeing more from Nero, and maybe see him isolate himself as one of the best players on the San Francisco Shock roster, which would be very impressive considering the star power on that roster. That is going to do it for this week's Power Rankings with IBM Watson. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to take a look at the rankings yourself every week, well, every Monday around midday, noon PST, Pacific time that is, we'll update them on the overwatchleague.com website, and you can check them out for yourself. You can browse around, press around, compare. You can even dive deep into some of the player profiles, their historic performances, all that good stuff. You can do more than you really think you can, so please keep that in mind and go check it out yourself. You know, don't really rely on this video alone, but if you don't have the chance to do so, yes, I'll be here every Wednesday. I'll be uploading a video here on the Overwatch League YouTube channel, and I'll run through some of the rankings and some of my favorite stories coming out of the past week's matches. So keep an eye out for Monday. We'll update the rankings, or keep an eye out on Wednesday here on the Overwatch League YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel so you get like the pop-up, you know, when the video is uploaded. Like the video, leave a comment down below, and if not, I'll see you this upcoming week for more Overwatch League right on this YouTube channel. Stay tuned, everybody. Much love. Take care.